No one expected it. Not after all this time, but just when Heartland fans had come to terms with Ty Borden's heartbreaking absence, the season 19 trailer dropped a bombshell that left everyone speechless. Ty is back. Not in a memory, not in a flashback, but walking, talking, and very much alive. The man who was once the soul of Heartland has returned, and with him comes a wave of emotions, unanswered questions, and a storm that could change everything. If you thought the pain was over, think again. Season 19 is not just another chapter, it's a reckoning. When the Heartland Season 19 trailer hit the screens, fans were prepared for the usual emotional storytelling. The family moments, the scenic shots of Alberta, the steady resilience of Amy Fleming. But then came the twist that no one saw coming. In the final seconds of the trailer, the camera pans across a quiet ranch at dusk, and out of the shadows steps Ty Borden. Yes, Ty. His eyes filled with something unspoken, his presence as strong and haunting as ever. For a moment, time seems to stop. And just like that, Heartland is no longer the same. The internet exploded. Viewers froze the frame, rewound the trailer, and watched it again, just to make sure their eyes weren't deceiving them. Was this a dream sequence? A hallucination? Or could it really be Ty Borden, alive after all these years? The questions came pouring in, but the trailer gave nothing away, just one powerful image. Ty staring at the house he once called home. For longtime fans, this moment was more than just a teaser, it was emotional justice. Ty's death in season 14 felt like the end of an era. It left a hole not just in the story, but in the hearts of millions. Viewers mourned with Amy, cried with Jack, and felt the weight of loss every time his name was mentioned. And even as new characters stepped in and the show tried to heal, there was always one truth no one could deny. Without Ty, Heartland had lost its center. So what does this shocking return mean? Some believe it's symbolic, a vision or a message from beyond. Others cling to hope that it's real, that maybe he didn't die, that somehow some twist of fate has brought him back. Could it be a misdiagnosis, a hidden truth buried under layers of protection? The possibilities are endless. But what's certain is this: the trailer doesn't lie. Ty Borden is back in some form, and the world of Heartland is about to be turned upside down. Amy's face in the trailer tells a story of its own. One moment she's walking through the barn, lost in thought. The next, she freezes, her eyes locked on someone we don't see yet. Her breath catches, her lips part, and then cut to black. That kind of reaction doesn't come from a memory, it doesn't come from a ghost. It comes from something real, something life-changing. And what about Jack? Lou? Tim? Their reactions haven't been shown yet, but fans are already imagining the storm of emotions that will follow. A family that spent years building a life after loss may now have to face everything they buried deep. Old wounds could reopen. New questions will rise. And trust. Trust may be the hardest thing to rebuild. This is more than a twist. It's a turning point. Season 19 isn't just about bringing back a fan favorite. It's about confronting the past, redefining the future, and challenging every belief we held since that fateful day in season 14. Ty's comeback is not just epic, it's emotional warfare. And this is only the beginning. For Amy Fleming, the return of Ty isn't just a surprise. It's a deep emotional earthquake that shakes everything she's carefully rebuilt. After losing Ty, Amy didn't just lose her husband, she lost her best friend, her partner, her anchor. Every step she took since his death was an act of survival. Every smile she forced, every night she cried in silence, every moment she stood strong for Lindy, it was all part of a journey to heal. A journey filled with pain, growth, and reluctant acceptance. And now, just as she begins to rediscover herself, and perhaps even imagine a new future, he walks back into her life. In the trailer, Amy doesn't speak, but her face says everything. The shock, the disbelief, the fear that this is just a cruel trick her mind is playing. She stands frozen, her world collapsing in the silence between heartbeats. For so long, she's lived in memories. Ty's laugh, the feel of his hand in hers, the way he looked at her like she was his whole world. Those memories were both a comfort and a curse. And now he's here, real, breathing, looking at her the same way he used to. The emotions that come crashing in are too complex to name. Is it joy? Is it guilt? Is it anger? Amy is overwhelmed. Because how do you welcome someone back when you've spent years grieving them? How do you open your arms when your heart is still in pieces? She doesn't know whether to run into his arms or run away in fear. This is not a reunion wrapped in happiness. This is raw. This is messy. And that's what makes it real. Amy's mind is racing. Has everything she's done since Ty's death been a lie? Did she move on too fast? Did she betray him by trying to find happiness again? In season 18, there were hints of a new beginning, whispers of a possible love interest, small steps toward emotional freedom. But now, all of that has been shattered. Because how can she look into the eyes of someone new when the eyes that once promised her forever have returned? And what does this mean for Lindy? Ty never got to see her grow. Never heard her call him Dad with the wonder of a little girl who adores him. Lindy grew up hearing stories, looking at pictures, asking questions that broke Amy's heart every time. How do you explain death to a child? How do you comfort her with answers you barely believe yourself? Now, Amy is faced with a new kind of fear. How will Lindy react? Will she understand? Will she feel confused, angry, or overjoyed? Amy doesn't know. She's never faced anything like this before. Then there's the storm inside Amy. Because even if this is Ty, truly Ty, the man she loved, time has passed. People change. Trauma leaves scars. What has he been through? Where has he been? Why didn't he come back sooner? These questions burn in her heart like fire. And the scariest part, she doesn't know if she wants the answers. Because no matter what he says, the pain she carried, the tears she cried, the strength it took to move forward, it's all real. Ty's return doesn't erase the grief. It complicates it. And that's the emotional center of Heartland Season 19. It's not just about bringing Ty back. It's about asking the hardest questions. About love, loss, healing, and the cruel beauty of second chances. Amy has to decide whether to open her heart again or protect it at all costs, whether to believe in miracles or fear what they might destroy. And through it all, we as the audience are right there with her, feeling every tremor, questioning every truth, hoping for peace in a storm that offers none. But this is Heartland. And if there's one thing this show has always taught us, it's that healing is never a straight line. It's a journey. A painful, beautiful, uncertain journey. And now, with Ty back, that journey begins again. When Ty Borden steps back into the world of Heartland, it's not just Amy who's shaken, it's the entire family. The Heartland Ranch, once filled with quiet acceptance of his absence, suddenly becomes the epicenter of emotional chaos. No one is prepared for this moment. No one knows what to believe. For years, the family mourned him, honored him, and tried to live in a way that would have made him proud. Now, everything feels uncertain. Because how do you react when someone you buried walks back into your life? Jack Bartlett is the first to see him. The man who raised Ty like his own grandson stares at him, eyes wide, jaw tight. He doesn't speak at first. He doesn't move. He just looks. And then, the pain of years floods his face. Jack is old school, strong, stoic, protective, but as he steps forward and pulls Ty into a trembling embrace, it's clear how much he's missed him. Jack doesn't need answers right away. For him, it's enough to have Ty in his arms again. "You're home," he whispers, and for a brief second, the weight of time disappears. Lou, on the other hand, isn't so easily swayed. Her face hardens. She's always been the practical one. The thinker, the planner. She immediately demands answers. Where has Ty been? Why didn't he call? What kind of cruel game is this? Her eyes are filled with suspicion, her voice clipped with disbelief. Lou has seen Amy break down too many times. She watched her sister collapse under the weight of grief, rebuild herself piece by piece. She's not ready to let Ty undo all of that without an explanation. And until he gives one, she keeps her distance. Tim is torn. He's a man who's made countless mistakes and lived with regret, but Ty's death was something he never got over. Tim finally made peace with it. Finally let go. And now that Ty's back, that peace shatters. He doesn't know how to react. He stares at Ty as if seeing a ghost. Part of him wants to hug him, shout at him, cry, but he's frozen, trapped between joy and pain. And then the questions begin to swirl. Is this really Ty? Could it be someone else? A trick? A setup? A delusion? Even the younger ones feel the shock ripple through their lives. Katie stares at him from a distance, confusion written all over her face. She was old enough to remember Ty, but not old enough to understand his disappearance. She watches everyone else react and doesn't know what to feel. Should she be happy? Should she be scared? She feels like she's been dropped into a story that doesn't make sense. But it's Lindy who matters most. Lindy, the little girl who never really knew her father, but held on to every story, every photograph, every bedtime tale of him. For her, Ty was always a dream, a hero she never got to meet. And now he's standing right in front of her. She doesn't speak at first. She just looks up at him, eyes wide, searching for something familiar. Ty kneels down, tears welling up, and says her name. Lindy. She doesn't respond. The moment is too big for words. She reaches out slowly, touches his face, and whispers, "Daddy?" And just like that, hearts break all over again. But the questions won't go away. Where has Ty been all this time? Why did he vanish? Why let his family believe he was dead? Whispers start to spread. Jack wonders if Ty was in danger. Tim thinks maybe it was something medical. Amnesia, trauma, something unthinkable. Lou suspects foul play. And Amy, though flooded with emotion, can't stop the doubt gnawing at her heart. Because there's a shadow in Ty's eyes. Something he's not saying. Some truth he's hiding. And just as the family tries to come to terms with his return, the trailer drops one more bombshell. A man in the shadows watching the ranch from a distance. His face isn't clear, but his presence sends a chill. Is he connected to Ty's disappearance? Is the danger truly over? Or has it only just begun? Heartland Season 19 isn't just about reunion. It's about mystery, about unspoken truths, about facing the past and deciding whether to forgive, to question, or to protect. Ty's comeback brings hope, but it also brings secrets. And for the Heartland family, the emotional roller coaster has only just begun. As the dust begins to settle and the shock of Ty's return ripples through every corner of Heartland, a storm of unanswered questions looms large over the ranch. Amy tries to keep herself grounded, but her emotions are stretched thin. One moment, she's reliving memories so vivid they feel like yesterday. The next, she's haunted by the fear that this beautiful reunion might crumble with the truth. The truth, after all, has a way of catching up with everyone. And in Season 19, it finally does. Ty's behavior, while gentle and familiar, is not without shadows. He avoids eye contact when asked about the missing years. His answers are vague, often deflecting with half smiles and reassuring phrases like, "It's a long story," or "I'll explain when the time is right." But the time is never right, and patience in Heartland is running out. Amy, who once would have waited a lifetime, now finds herself caught between the love she still feels and the pain she buried deep. She's tired of dreaming. She wants reality. Lou, relentless in her search for answers, begins digging into Ty's supposed death. She pulls old reports, speaks with the doctor who signed the death certificate, and even tracks down officials who handled the case. What she finds shakes her to the core. The autopsy was inconclusive. There were inconsistencies in the paperwork. A nurse who worked that night left town shortly after, and the clinic where Ty was treated had a record of lost files from that week. It all smells like a cover-up. At the same time, Jack takes a different approach. He watches Ty closely, not with suspicion, but with concern. Jack senses something deeper at play, something weighing on Ty's shoulders. One night, Jack sits with him by the fire, and in his usual quiet wisdom says, "You don't have to carry this alone, son. Whatever it is, we can take it. We just need the truth." And that's when Ty finally breaks. Ty begins to speak, slowly at first, as though each word costs him something. He tells Jack that he was targeted, not randomly, but specifically. It all traces back to a veterinary mission he went on months before he died. He had uncovered an illegal operation involving wildlife trafficking. something he hadn't even told Amy about yet. When he tried to report it, he was warned off, threatened. But Ty, being who he is, didn't back down. On the night he was supposedly shot and killed, he was actually ambushed. The shooter wasn't just a random poacher, he was part of a larger network trying to silence Ty. He was wounded, yes, but not fatally. Instead, he was taken and held in a remote location. Drugged, interrogated, isolated. It was months before he escaped, and even then, he was too weak to return home. He feared bringing danger to Amy and Lindy. So he stayed hidden, watched from afar, and waited for a time when it was safe to come back. Amy listens to this confession with tears running down her cheeks. Every emotion she tried to suppress comes back tenfold. Anger, heartbreak, relief, guilt. She wants to scream, but she also wants to hold him. She wants to tell him he should have trusted her, should have come back. But more than anything, she wants to believe him. But Ty's return also brings new threats. The man in the shadows, the one seen lurking at the end of the trailer, is not a coincidence. He's part of the network Ty escaped from. And now they know Ty is alive. Tension tightens around the ranch. Security is increased. Lou insists on involving the authorities. Tim arms himself. Jack reaches out to old contacts from his rodeo days, hoping someone can help. Meanwhile, Lindy becomes Ty's anchor. She draws pictures of their new life, tells him stories of her dreams, shows him the horses she loves. In her innocence, she gives him hope. And in his eyes, she becomes the reason he must fight harder than ever to protect this second chance. Amy and Ty begin the slow work of healing. They ride together again, their bond with the horses rekindling something they thought they had lost. There are no easy answers, no perfect days, but there are moments of peace. And in those moments, they start to build a new version of their love. One that has been tested by time and pain, but is rooted deeper than before. Still, the danger lingers. One night, a fire breaks out in the barn. Horses panic. Amy and Ty rush in, risking everything to save them. In the chaos, Ty sees the shadowy figure from the trailer. Their eyes meet. It's a warning, a reminder that the past hasn't let go. And just like that, the fragile peace shatters. The family holds an emergency meeting. Lou argues for relocating until things are safe. Jack refuses to leave the land that holds so much history. Tim wants to go on the offensive, and Amy, torn between fear and faith, makes a bold decision. They will stay. Heartland is more than just a ranch. It's their home, their legacy, their fight. As season 19 nears its climax, viewers are left with burning questions. Will the truth about Ty's disappearance be revealed to the public? Will Amy and Ty find their way back to each other completely? Can Heartland survive the threat that now hangs over it? One thing is certain, Ty's return has changed everything. Not just for the family, but for the spirit of the show. The emotional anchor is back. The heart that was missing has found its way home. And while the road ahead is filled with danger and uncertainty, the Heartland family is ready, stronger than ever, united by love, by pain, and by the unshakable belief that no matter what comes next, they will face it together. Because in Heartland, hope is never truly lost. And neither is Ty Borden.